the years that people were born.
No, I can remember when someone's born. That's easy. Like, I know my parents' date of birth off the back of my hand. I do not know their ages. I don't know my age. They don't know my age. They don't know their ages.
Don't you know your date of birth then? Can't you just...
Yeah, I know my date of birth.
Do a little bit of subtraction?
Okay, I'll DM you what the date of birth is.
Sunsun, welcome! Thank you for the follow! And Hulkcrafter, welcome! Hello!
I'm gonna DM you what the date of birth is because it is like so close to like...
You're just gonna DM me? This is worse than that one time I sent Bo my social security number. Cry
it's
for
a
the
date
earth,
of birth.
welcome! Thank you for the
It's public on my Twitter.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was public on your Twitter.
It kind of is. So like if you go to it, it'll tell you when someone's birthday is.
Bro.
So if you look at that number,
it is not that hard to figure out your age from that number.
Counterpoint. It is near the end of like two big things. And because of that, there's edge cases. And it accumulates exponentially in my head. I don't think I would call edge case on edge case.
Edge cases. It's just subtraction, my guy.
It's subtraction except for like, you know, a certain number of days in the year, and then you have to do some other additions and subtractions. And then on top of that, you have your entire life people saying you're 10 to 15 years older than you actually are.
You're so close to the new year. I feel like it's not that hard.
It's those few days that trip me up.
Okay,
I know it's not much,
I'm looking at the date and I'm noticing it's not one of those few days.
Yeah, but the fact that they exist is a persistent thing on my mind that trips me up anytime I think about it. I overthink it, honestly. That's why I can't remember. I just overthink it. And because I overthink it, I just rather have my home server rack send data to my phone and tell me.
You ever hear the term engineer's disease?
No.
It's when you try and solve a problem that's like a social or emotional problem with an engineering solution.
So you mean growing up?
I wouldn't call that growing up, no.
Can I pretend it is? Can you lie to me and tell me it is so I feel better?
Yeah, I can lie to you.
Thank you so much, Ellie. Thank you. That means a lot. That made my whole entire decade. Thank you so much.
After so many decades, what does it even mean for me to make your decade at this point?
I am not immortal. I am not 1,000 years old.
Hey, Sonny!
Don't worry, Wolf. I'm sure it's hard to remember your own age when you're
I'm sure it's hard to remember. God damn it. Oh, wait.
We got the zzzz time. Heat gun ASMR, everybody. Sing along with her. She sings her song. She loves to share her beautiful voice with all of us. Directly next to my microphone.
The voice of electric angels. That's similar to the sound that curling irons make.
Huh?
So you know how like certain electronics like curling irons or light bulbs, if they're constructed poorly, you can hear like an electric coil whine from a distance?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like that, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Except that's on purpose. The voice of an angel caught in a bug zapper. Indeed.
What if angels are small and they do get caught in bug zappers?
You know what? Then it's just a skill issue. Let's be honest. But to be fair, like, I see the allure of bug zappers. Like they're bright. They make a zappy noise, and it's very mesmerizing. Does it like the zap?
Well, you know the actual deal with why insects are drawn to light, right?
Partially, like some of them, like very niche ones, are like warmth related. Others are like, hey, we think it's daytime kind of thing.
It's actually
other times they're just disorientated.
So the deal is the way that an insect flies straight, right? The way that they fly straight, is that they find the brightest object, right? Which is always going to be the sun or the moon, right? Because humans don't exist.
And that's why they get disorientated.
And they use that as up. They use that to know up, right? So then, if you align yourselves with your back to the light source, and you fly straight, you will be flying parallel, basically, you know, straight, right? And you can pick a direction and go in that direction. When you have to navigate in 3 dimensions, we only have to navigate really in 2 dimensions, right? They have to navigate in 3 dimensions. And so the way that they control that 3rd dimension is you put your back to the brightest thing that you can see. So, bugs are not actually drawn to light. They aren't seeking out light. And if you watch them, you'll notice that they sort of orbit it. It looks like they always have their back to it. And that's why they're putting their back to the light bulb. And they are trying to go straight. They are trying their best to escape a stressful situation, like slowly overheating because you're too close to a light source. But no matter what you do, if your back is always to that light, you're going to be orbiting it, right?
That makes a lot more sense, yes.
Yeah, it's actually kind of heartbreaking.
Sad. Yeah.
Yeah, because the harder they try and get away, the closer they wind up orbiting.
I wonder how that affects bugs that are like 99% like living underground kind of thing.
Well, you know.
I mean, it probably still affects like it's still like an instinct kind of thing, I would imagine.
If you aren't a flying insect, it probably doesn't, it's not very useful to you. And Known, welcome! Thank you for the follow. So it would depend on whether, right, because some insects, not all insects have a shared flying ancestor, but most insects alive right now do, right? So like springtails, I'm sure they don't have that instinct, but I'm sure that instinct evolved pretty early in winged insects. Polvu, welcome! Thank you for the follow! So then there are a lot of insects that are secondarily flightless, right? That lost their flight.
Yeah.
That had a flying ancestor and lost their flight. So a lot of them, it probably would still be an instinct, even though, you know, they don't have wings, so they wouldn't act on it.
True, yeah. The more you know.
Well, yeah. Well, anyway, let's go.
And let's go.
Let's go. Gonna shorten the legs a little again. But remember, we always... Huh?
Oh no, I was just thinking of shortening the legs, especially with the green ones when they go in, because
yeah.
Oh boy, they're bulky.
Always shorten the long leg first.
What?
Huh? On an LED?
Always shorten the short leg first. So that way you know which is still the short.
I always do long leg first. Because then you know the maximum. You can't always cut shorter, but like, I don't know. You can solder if you have like that much left, you know? Like you don't need that much to... And for me, it's like, I don't want to have to go back and forth a billion times.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's because I
don't know, y'all can fight me.
I don't want to lose track of which is which. I know you can tell by looking at the LED itself, like which has the thicker triangle bit. Yeah, but if you forget that sometimes, also it's not obvious in like certain LEDs, like Piranha ones, it's not easy.
What are these Piranha LEDs? You keep bringing them up.
Oh, they're like squarish LEDs that have like a super wide cone for the light emittance. They have 4 pins on them, but it's just like bridging, so it's technically still 2. But you know which one is positive because one of the plastic corners is rounded. And that's the only way to tell because you cannot tell looking at the LED itself.
They sound cool. I want to work with them. I don't do a lot of LED projects with anything except like LEDs as indicators, you know?
Yeah, neither do I.
Like I don't do a lot of like cool like IoT lightings type stuff where people wind up using them a lot, you know?
Yeah, I don't really either. Basically my approach to things is if I see something I want to make it, I just make it. And I figure out how to do things and what to use as I go. So like I know a lot about this, but I actually very rarely work with it. Because it's like everything's project based, really.
Yeah, everything should be project based.
Yeah. But I did fall in love with this board during this project because it's like basically everything I ever wanted in ESP32 because it's got like the built-in like battery charging circuit protection stuff and like
oh my god,
all
right?
that is like perfect.